P6, simplifying rational expressions review. So remember, when we're simplifying rational expressions, we always want to start by factoring. So if we look at this first one, we have the quantity x plus 3 divided by the quantity of x squared minus 4 times x squared minus x minus 6 divided by x squared plus 6x plus 9. So x plus 3 cannot factor, so we're just going to leave it the way it is, over x squared minus 4 can factor as x plus 2 times x minus 2 because of the difference of two squares, times, okay, x squared minus x minus 6. Since it's a trinomial, we're going to do AC factoring, so we're looking for the factors of negative 6 that add to be negative 1, which is negative 3 and positive 2. So we have the quantity x minus 3 times the quantity x plus 2 over x squared plus 6x plus 9. So our factors of 9 that add to be 6 are 3 and 3. So this is going to factor to be x plus 3 times x plus 3. And now we're just going to go through and cancel anything that's on top and bottom, and we can go diagonally. So x plus 3 can cancel, and then x plus 2. So on the numerator, we're left with x minus 3. And in the denominator, we're left with the quantity x minus 2 and x plus 3. Remember, I don't care if you FOIL that out, but we can just leave it the way it is. So that is our solution. Okay, remember, dividing is the same thing as multiplication, except for we need to copy, change, flip. And we're going to factor as we do that. So we have x squared minus 2x plus 1. So our factors of 1 that add to be negative 2 are negative 1 and negative 1. So our numerator for our first fraction will be x minus 1 times x minus 1 over x cubed plus x. Since we're adding and we only have two terms, the only thing we can do is GCF, which is x, and we're left with x squared plus 1. So now we're going to change to multiplication, and we're going to flip the second fraction. So if I look at this denominator, 3x squared plus 3, all we can do is a GCF of 3. So if we factor that out, we are left with x squared plus 1. And then our new denominator, x squared plus x minus 2. Our factors of negative 2 that add to be 1 would be 2 and negative 1. So we have x plus 2 times x minus 1. And now we can cancel. So we can cancel out an x minus 1 and our x squared plus 1. So our solution, or simplified expression, would be 3 times the quantity x minus 1 over x times x plus 2. All right, and then reviewing addition or subtraction. Remember, those are going to be the same. And our key thing we have to have here is we have to have a common denominator. And the first thing we need to do is factor everything. So if we look at this x squared plus x minus 2, I'm just going to put a line through it. And we can rewrite this as x plus 2 times x minus 1, because our factors of negative 2 that add to be 1 are 2 and negative 1. So our least common denominator, we write everything from the first denominator, x plus 2 and x minus 1. And then anything that we have in our second denominator that isn't written in the first, so x plus 3. So now we're going to multiply everything that we're missing. So looking at this first fraction, we're missing the x plus 3. So we're going to write in x plus 3 on the top and an x plus 3 on the bottom. Okay. In our second fraction, we only have x plus 3. So our denominator needs to be multiplied by the x plus 2 and the x minus 1. So we're also going to multiply the numerator by that as well. Okay, so if we rewrite this, we now have x plus 3 times x plus 3 plus x minus 1 times x plus 2 times x minus 1 all over that least common denominator, x plus 2, x minus 1, and x plus 3. Now, to finish simplifying, we need to go ahead and multiply in our numerator. So if we do that, x times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. 3 times x is 3x. And 3 times 3 is 9. Plus, okay, so now you have some options. So we know we need to multiply all of these together. So we're going to have to FOIL and then multiply again. But remember, we got this x plus 2 times x minus 1 from right here. So we can rewrite this as that trinomial, x squared plus x minus 2. And that kind of takes away a step when we're multiplying. So now we can multiply x squared times x, which is x cubed. X squared times negative 1 is negative x squared. X times x is x squared. X times negative 1 is negative x. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. And negative 2 times negative 1 is a positive 2. And I know those lines kind of got overlapping, so I apologize for that. And then that's all over our denominator. And now we just need to simplify. So let's see here. Combine like terms. So we start off with our x cubed. And I'm going to cancel these as we write them out. We have our x squared minus x squared will cancel. So we're just left with 1x squared. 3x plus 3x is 6x. Minus x would be 5x. Minus 2x would put us back to 3x. And then 9 plus 2 is 11. All over that least common denominator, x plus 2 times x minus 1 times x plus 3. Remember, we always need to check to make sure this can't factor. And it can't. Because if it did, we would need to make sure we simplify completely. And since this can't factor, this is our solution.